Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Expanded Guide. Today, Travis and myself are going to be talking about Jenny Barnes.
Yeah.
I've talked about the investigators the last few, so why don't you take Jenny, if you can handle it.
Okay. Jenny has 3 in all of her stats, which is a truly astounding stat line.
Yeah.
One of the few that is shared among several investigators.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the only one, actually.
No, all ones now with Charlie and Preston.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 3 all 3s now, though.
And
right?
yeah, and we have 2 all 2s, because Carson and Amanda are both, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you get an additional resource during each upkeep phase.
That's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then you get, your star effect is you get +1 for each resource you have.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to be a lot.
Yeah, it's probably going to pass the test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 8 hearts and 7 brains. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you actually, you have a lot of
pretty beefy.
beefy soak because your stats are kind of just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have our standard 30 deck size and our standard Dunwich deck building for green cards, rogue cards 0 to 5, neutral cards, and up to 5 level 0 cards from any other class.
Mm-hmm.
Her uniques that she comes with are the Jenny's Twin 45s, which have a variable cost, and they come into play with a variable amount of ammo on them. So X is however much you pay for them. If you pay 5, they come into play with 5 ammo on them. Mm-hmm. And then as an action, you can fight, spending an ammo to get +2 punch and deal +1 damage, which is pretty okay.
Yeah, it's a good weapon. It's a good weapon.
A little tough to take up both hand slots.
Plus, yep.
But that's how they used to design green cards back in the day.
Yes.
And then our weakness is searching for Izzy, which you attach it to the location furthest from you. And for 2 actions, you can investigate. If you succeed, instead of discovering clues, you discard searching for Izzy. And when the game ends, if it is still in play, you suffer mental trauma. Yeah. This is actually a pretty soft weakness in many cases. Sometimes you're going to draw on like the last turn or whatever, and you're like, well,
yep.
It just happens. But you don't have to be the one to do the investigate. You don't have to actually be good at investigating.
Yeah,
if you build a combat-focused J. Barnes, you can send Rex or whatever to go do it.
That's what particularly makes it nice and doable.
Yeah, all in all, it's a pretty not bad weakness to have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the things that Jenny has going for her, she has a strong economy. She gets twice as many resources every turn as any other investigator. And she has flexible stats. They're all 3s, which means that with a little bit of effort, you can get them all up to, any of them up to like a reasonable number.
Yeah, and then also as well as that it allows you to kind of like build Jenny how you want to build Jenny too. Yeah. There's a lot of different routes that you can take with her.
The things that she doesn't have going for her is she doesn't really do anything well. So, a lack of specialization.
Yeah, we put that there instead of just saying flexible stats again, because flexible stats is both a positive and also a negative.
Yeah, you can do anything, but you can't really do any of it good.
Yes, yeah. We see Jenny a lot, both in like how we've played with people, but also from what we've seen online, that Jenny is very often a new player's first investigator because her text box is very simple to understand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know if she's the best new player because the 3s and all the stats, but hopefully with this guide we can point you at some cards to make it a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, that does feel a little bit weird, and that like they're not going to succeed as many tests as they might want to. Yeah. It also leaves them quite open-ended as to what they're supposed to do on their turns, which could be a positive or negative depending on the player. Yeah. And then also you have to play with green cards, which tend to be a little bit, especially if you're playing with like the first couple expansions, it tends to be a little bit like Rube Goldberg machine-y.
Yes. Yeah.
Which can be tough for a new player to visualize.
Yeah, it's like that's why Bryn plays them on our channel. He's not here. Mm-hmm. He should be here. He's the green investigator, but
yeah. Why didn't you make him do this one?
Because we are the expanded guide buddies, and that's what we're doing.
Throw me into the pit.
But you can see it in our early gameplays that, especially with a limited collection, which I imagine a lot of players, if you're watching this and you just bought like the Dunwich Legacy Investigator expansion, maybe you have Carcosa, you're gonna have to like be making like a lot of different pieces work together to get there. It is very possible because in our second campaign, Bryn played Jenny, and I don't know if we won or lost that campaign.
Yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. But Jenny is capable of doing good things. You just have to understand that you're kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. However, you can build, if you really want to do like, I'm investigate Jenny, you can do that, but she's a very good flex investigator because of her stats.
Yeah.
Why don't we dive into core set, and I will talk about this first. So, because these are the Dunwich investigators, they can take 5 off-color cards as their splash cards. How we're going to be structuring this is Travis has only picked out like the best of the best notable options.
Yeah, just a handful of them.
Because there are a lot of things you can do. A lot more than what we say here.
I don't want to talk about every other level 0 card.
Exactly, right? So it's going to be at the end of each expansion, we're going to talk about those cards in particular, and it is a smaller amount. So if you're like, why isn't X here? It's because ultimately it could be, but we also don't want to have this video be 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Because it would be.
Yeah.
So we have Burglary. You can exhaust it to investigate, and if you succeed, instead of discovering clues, gain 3 resources. Big money is an avenue you can take. This can help you get there with that. Pickpocketing, after you evade an enemy, exhaust it to draw a card. Turns your evade actions into card draw, which is nice.
Pretty standard green card.
Yeah. We have Leo DeLuca, who gives you more actions. That's particularly notable with Jenny, because you're probably going to be failing actions, so if you just have more actions, you'll likely succeed a normal stats worth of actions.
Yeah, you also can pay for Leo in 3 turns of upkeeps instead of, 6.
That's actually something that you should be very aware of as well, because whenever you look at like in a defensive card or an offensive card, if it's 1 resource cost, it's like always active, because at the end of your turn you get 1 resource. So with Jenny, 2 is now that number. So skipping just Hard Knocks for a second, both like Elusive and Sneak Attack, they're both like always kind of active with Jenny. Going back to Hard Knocks though, you can spend your resources to get Fist or Foot. With a smaller collection, Hard Knocks will probably find a home in Jenny, because it turns your money into more stat, which is good. Elusive, you can disengage from each enemy, engage with you, and move to a real location. It's fast. Really good card.
Yep.
Then we got Sneak Attack, deal 2 damage to an exhausted enemy at your location. It's a way to do testless damage, but not really, because the enemy has to be evaded, but still just damage.
Might be testless for you.
Exactly, yeah. Someone else is like, don't worry, I have 5 in foot. And you're like, thank God.
Thank God someone brought stats.
Yeah, we have level 0 Opportunist. If you succeed by 3 or more, return it to your hand after this test ends. It commits for a wild. The upgraded version that we're going to see in a bit is very nice. This one, though, if you want to try it out, you'll need to put some money into your stats or have different stat boosters to consistently see Opportunist back into your hand. Then we have Flashlight, which is in our clue, notable clue getting cards. If you see that little symbol on one of these cards, you can go down to the description and find a link to all of the relevant things, which is clues, weapons, and the staples in this video.
And spells.
There is spells, but we have no for Jenny in this one. There's no Jenny spells. All right, Travis, we have a lot of core cards, so why don't you keep this? Man. Oh, this one's so easy. Go for it.
We got Emergency Cash, and also Guts, Males, Dexterity, Overpower, Perception, Unexpected Courage. These are all going to be in the Staples video, but Emergency Cash gives you money, and you want to have money to pay for things.
Yeah, you can never have enough money in green.
And then the other 5 give you stats, which you don't have and you need.
Yeah. So one thing that's nice about all these is because you have 3s, you commit 1 to a test, and it becomes 5, which is a nice number.
Yeah, that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And they replace themselves, too, for the most part.
Yes.
We have our upgrade Leo DeLuca here. He costs 1 less. And it doesn't seem like a huge upgrade, but for a lowly experience, it means you can just play him on turn 1 instead of having to gain a resource and play him.
Yeah.
He, kind of costs 1 less action. So, we have our other Corsa ally here, the Cat Burglar. Gives you +1 foot, playing up to 4. As an action, you can exhaust it to disengage from each enemy engaged with you and move to a connecting location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. This is a solid way to just kind of distance yourself from enemies and also give you some more foot if that's the direction that you'd like to take your Jenny build.
Why don't you keep going, because that was so easy. Oh, this one's also, there's also a lot of stickers on this one.
Well, it's like those are the good cards.
It's like those are the good cards.
We have Sure Gamble, which is you fast play when you reveal a chaos token with a negative modifier. You can switch that token's negative to a positive. This is a good way to pass tests, Jenny, especially really important ones. And sometimes you can just scum a test you weren't intending. You shouldn't pass anyway. You have test 3 to 4 or whatever, and the game's like, here's a -2, and you're like,
Yeah, you gotcha.
So my 3 experience lucky.
Yep.
That cost twice as much. Then we have Hot Streak. This is a 4 experience card. Lets you pay 3 money to gain 10 resources. Just a way to get more money. Something that you like. We also have a level 0 one here that got tacked on at the end, I guess, which is the 41 Derringer. There's a camera in my way. I always forget the numbers for them.
Yeah. They're all just guns to me.
Yeah. You use those as 3 ammo as an action. You can shoot with it. You get +2 punch for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, the attack deals +1 damage. This is like a reasonable green weapon. from the first couple sets here. It doesn't always deal the damage, which is what you're generally looking for in your weapon, but you can make it work.
Yeah.
Then we have some of our off-color cards here. We got our 45 automatic, which lets you shoot and always get damage, but less punch. So, if you want to do a weapon-focused Jenny, perhaps you should look at this. Same thing with Beat Cop, just gives you +1 fist. This makes your fist into 4, which is a real number almost. And he can also discard to deal damage in a pinch. We have our Magnifying Glass and Dr. Milan Christopher, which are sort of the clue allegatories to the previous 2 cards. The Magnifying Glass giving you +1 book while investigating, and Dr. Milan giving you +1 book, and a resource after you investigate, which plays really nicely into the whole resource thing that Jenny's got going on.
Yeah.
Then we have a purple card here, got Drawn to the Flame, which is draw the top card of the encounter deck, and then discover 2 clues at your location. You have 3 brain, 3 foot, which is actually very solid defensive stats for a green investigator. So that encounter card hopefully won't be too scary, and it's just 2 testless clues.
Yeah. You will probably find yourself still being scared of Rotting Remains, because you'll look at that and be like, it's like the game's taunting you. Like with one brain, you're like, I'm gonna take some horror. But with 3 brain, horror. You're like, I might take 3 horror here. I'd love to see this. It tempts you. It's like, maybe I'll commit something.
That gives you hope.
Yeah, and hope kills. A few more here. We got Ward of Protection. Basically just says no to an encounter card.
Yeah.
Cunning Distraction. 5 money, evade all enemies at your location. 5 money seems like a lot, but Jenny makes so much of it that it's going to be a lot quicker for you to get there. And then we got Dig Deep. It's a way to use your money for your defensive stats. Last but not least here, we got Lucky. Just +2 when you would fail a test, which is good. Just a nice defensive card.
Yeah.
All right, on to Dunwich. We have Liquid Courage. This will allow you to heal horror and then test Brain 2. If you succeed, you heal an additional horror. If you fail, you'll discard a card at random from your hand. Unlike other rogues, you actually have a chance of passing that test.
You do?
Yeah. So it could just heal you 2 more reliably than most of the other ones. Think on your feet. When an enemy would spawn, you can move to a connecting location. The enemy still spawns at your previous location. This could definitely find a home in your decks if you're focused on clue getting, or if you're also kind of just a flex, and it's just this is if I'm not ready, or if I just don't want to fight something, or if it's not going to be a problem, I can just get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Contraband allows you to double the number of ammo or supply tokens on an asset by an investigator location. Can you imagine? You just put 8 ammo on your doubles, and then you just double that.
16.
Yeah.
And then you get to shoot it 16 times.
16 times. However, this actually goes with that, the laughing at that. This goes to show how Jenny can kind of build up. So if you had Beat Cop as your or Hired Muscle even as your ally, your 5 now becomes a 6, which is a number that a lot of people are pretty comfortable to fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number.
But as Travis said, it's a big machine you got to build together to get that going. But some people like that about some of these games. I'm pointing at Bryn, who never sits here, but he would be. If he was.
No, I would be sitting there if he was here.
No, you're always sitting here for expanded guides now. I'll just throw a wrench in. I'm Out of Here allows you to resign, which is a good tech card, but it also just commits for 2 foot. So it's the question of if you're thinking of running manual decks, but you also know, hey, maybe I want to resign. You don't need the replacement card. Think of I'm Out of Here. Lone Wolf, if there are no other investigators, when your turn begins, you gain a resource. More money.
3 money turn.
I've seen it quite commonly. Jenny decks just run one of these cards because you have 5 splash cards. And you're like, what do I need as a 1 of? I'll just play Lone Wolf. It's really easy. Because 3 money a turn is a lot of turn. Yeah. Quick Thinking, it's a staple. Just if you succeed by 2 or more, immediately take an action. Hired Muscle gives you +1 fist, and you have to pay 1 money to him at the end of the upkeep phase, or he goes away. Luckily, though, because you make 2, you'll just be a normal person.
Yeah.
To pay for him. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem like a good deal, if I'm being honest. You're you don't have a text box, and in exchange you get +1 fist.
And 3/1 soak.
You have a competent stat line.
Yeah. But I mean, you also then put that in with Lone Wolf, and then it
yeah, no, it all works
But
together,
it doesn't seem...
In a vacuum,
it
you're kind of
Yeah. it goes to the thing where like one of them isn't impressive and two of them isn't impressive. When you get to three, everyone's like, oh, okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
We have adaptable. This is a permanent that allows you to switch 2 level 0 cards between each scenario. Bryn likes it. It's a good card, especially when you know a campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're just like a new player and like just you want to spend 1 experience to just be like, I fucked up and put these cards in my deck. I need to change those. But what's really cool with Jenny too is that you can change your splash cards. So you can just like always kind of just like zoom, just go through.
Yeah, you can build combat Jenny and this all shows up with a combat deck and you're like, well, I mean, I guess I'll be Clue Jenny.
Yeah. Just turn that beak up to a Dr. Milan.
Yeah.
All right, I want to keep it going, Travis.
Yeah, we got our level 2 Switchblade. This is a real weapon. You get +2 fists for the attack, and if you succeed by 2 more, the attack deals +1 damage. It's like that Derringer we talked about before, but it doesn't use ammo.
It only costs 1, and it's fast.
Yeah, it only takes 1 hand slot, too. Very solid weapon. We got Relic Hunter and our Charisma. These allow you to have an additional accessory or ally slot, respectively. These are solid pickups for Jenny because it's easier for her to play those additional assets with her extra economy.
Yep.
So. We have Streetwise. This is a 3 experience permanent. You as a lightning bolt, you can spend 2 resources to either get +3 book for a test or +3 foot for a test. Both of which are very good. This card is a big part of why, if you look online, I think you generally see Jenny decks trend towards getting clues as opposed to fighting.
Yeah.
In spite of her signature asset being guns. But very good card. Here we have the level 2 Lucky Dice. This is exceptional, so it actually costs you 4 experience put into your deck. It takes up an accessory slot. After you reveal a Chaos token, you can spend 2 resources to ignore that Chaos token and reveal another one. And if that token is an auto-fail, you remove Lucky Dice from the game. So you get to play like crappy, well, not necessarily crappy, but like a different Wendy.
Yeah.
Which isn't actually that bad.
No, it's not, especially when you have 3 in your stats, because you get more consistency.
And, like, you can use this to eat an auto-fail if you draw it for the first one.
Yes.
But not the second one.
Not the second one. But
so,
yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's actually pretty solid. Huh. And there's that level 2 Opportunist Justin was talking about. Still only commits for 1 wild, but you get it back if you succeed by 2 or more, which is something a lot of green cards care about, so it's something you're going to be endeavoring to do just in general.
Yes.
Here we have Ace in the Hole. It's exceptional, so actual 6 experience. Fast, playing during your turn, you get 3 extra actions. Fantastic card, especially if at lower player counts. Then we have the Gold Pocket Watch, which is a 4 experience exceptional, so actually 8 experience.
Yes.
And as a reaction, it has been added to. Not that it really matters, but when a phase begins, you can remove it from the game to skip that phase, or when a phase ends, you can remove it from the game to repeat that phase. Similar to Ace in the Hole, but much stronger at higher player counts.
Yeah, this card always brings, like, joy to the table when someone plays it. It's like, yeah!
It was like free turn.
Yeah. And what I really like about Gold Pocket Watch, even though there's most of the time, like, there is a correct thing to do.
It's usually skip the Mythos phase. Sometimes it's repeat the Investigator phase if you're trying to dig your way out of a bunch of enemies.
Yeah, but I like that there is, like, it can change. So, like, it's very common to do a specific way, but you can then, it gives you, like, it's a powerful card that also allows you to be like, what's the best way for us to handle this?
Yeah, you can use repeat the upkeep phase, get 2 extra resources, Justin.
Let's go!
Just extend
4 resources. Everyone's like, what are you doing? You're like, look at this, my stat. I have an investigator ability that cares about the upkeep phase. We have Red Glove Man, well, not manned, who sets, when he comes into play, he sets 2 of your skills to 6.
That's twice what they're supposed to be.
Yes. There's actually a lot of cool things you can do with Jenny, with the Red Glove Man, with the cards we just talked about, Ace in the Hole and Gold Pocket Watch. It is a shit ton of experience.
Yeah.
Like an absolute metric shit ton.
It really is.
But it's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. Yeah. We have Shortcut, which is in our stable video, Move Quickly. Delve Too Deep, which is in our stable video, but it helps you get the Red Glove Man, Ace in the Hole combo a little bit easier, more experience. Prepared for the Worst is in our stable video, lets you find more weapons. And then we have Fire Axe, which is a notable weapon with Jenny Barnes, because she gets money and then she can basically get +4 and then kill something.
Yeah.
This is really good for a flex Jenny. Not notably consistent for main fighter Jenny. For the Fire Axe. Because it kind of like, you hit the first one and then you're like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah.
All right, on to Carcosa. We have Dario El Amin. When you have 10 or more resources, you get +1 brain and +1 book. If there are no enemies in your location, you can exhaust them and do your ability, essentially.
Wow. This is like a real card for Jenny.
It's probably like the home that like most naturally fits, right, for Dario, because it's very easy for you to get to 10 resources. Because otherwise, I mean, Bryn always says, would you like to pay 14 resources for +1 brain and +1 book? And the answer with Jenny is like, probably, maybe. Yeah. I could be convinced.
Yeah.
We have Watch This, which commits for everything but a book. When you spend up to 3 resources, and if you exceed by 1 or more, gain twice that many resources. Yeah. It's just a card to potentially get more money. It works in Jenny, but it's the one that's the scariest because, you have 3s in all your stats and you can't really here's my good one. But it is a way to make money, especially if you get other passive boosts to your skills.
Yeah.
Narrow Escape. When an enemy makes attack of opportunity against you, you get to cancel it, and then you get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform this turn. This is actually a nice card if you're trying to take advantage of the Derringer or the Switchblade that we talked about, to try to take the enemies out.
Yeah, you can play another card, and then the enemy goes to make an attack of opportunity, and then you get to play Narrow Escape, and you get to do your thing or move or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can attack at +2 for your next action.
Yes. Yeah. We have Lockpicks, which is one of the clue in our clue video, but it's also in our staple video. It allows you to investigate 2
stickers.
Because I don't have it set up, and we're so far into this series. I figured out a better way to do the stickers, and then I was like, no, I can do a guide in 30 minutes. That's good enough. But yeah, this one you put your book and your foot together, and if you succeed by at least 2, you do not have to remove a supply. Otherwise, you have to, and it just allows you to investigate with those together. Jenny is more likely to break these picks than some of the other rogue investigators, but with some other things even a passive boost to either your
a cat bug or whatever. You're 7. That's pretty good.
Probably pretty comfortable. We got Moxie, which is a composure, which means horror must be assigned to it before your investigator card, and you can spend resources to get brain and foot. You're going to see a lot of these cards throughout this whole thing that care about spending resources to get stat boosts. Because
she's got money and no stat.
Yeah. If you haven't figured it out by now, that's exactly it. Upgraded Sneak Attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy not engaged with you at your location. That's a nice upgrade. Basically just removes a whole test out of it and just be like, die.
Yep.
Yeah. Pickpocketing, also an upgraded version. It's fast now. I always forget that.
I do too.
Yeah. Is the original one even fast? No, right? No.
I don't remember.
Justin, that was 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. Man, I played with Skeleton Key how many times, and I spent an action on it almost every time. I think I can remember what pickpocketing is.
But basically, after you evade an enemy, if you succeed by 2 or more, you can draw a card. You draw a card to gain a resource. If you succeed by 2 or more, you can do both those things. And then we got the upgraded Derringer, which if you succeed by 1 or more, it deals +1 damage, and if you succeed by 3 or more, you may take an additional action this turn. A very rogue card.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rogue weapon gets even roguier. All right, Travis.
There we go. Our suggestion. This is a level 4 card. It has 3 charges. As an action, you can exhaust it to evade, adding your brain to your skill value, and if you don't succeed by at least 2, you remove a charge from it. When a non-elite enemy would attack you, spend a charge to cancel that attack. It's like the evade or the brain rogue pick.
Lockpicks, yeah.
Yeah, the evade lockpicks. It makes evading enemies easier. You can dodge a couple attacks. It's fine. Our Lupara here is level 3 weapon. Uses 2 ammo. Playing it does not provoke attacks of opportunity. You can spend ammo to fight. You get +1 punch and deal +1 damage to the attack. And if it Aaron play this turn, you get an additional +1 punch and additional +1 damage to this attack. This is really nice for gives you a total of +2 punch, putting you up to 5, and then you deal 3 damage if you succeed the attack. This synergizes quite nicely with a lot of the pay money to boost your skill cards, because you can quite often kill 1 enemy with 3 damage.
Yep.
So you don't have to invest money into 2 attacks. We have our Key of Ys. This is an accessory, and it's pretty good. It makes your stats better, which is something that Jenny struggles with, if you haven't noticed.
Oh man, Jenny loves this. Just go into a 6/6/6/6 monstrosity.
Yeah, like Calvin.
Like Calvin. But you also don't have to worry about dying.
Yeah. We have our off-color cards here. Not too many options, but Let Me Handle This. Just a solid Guardian staple. Puts up to 5 for whatever revelation test you're taking, so That's pretty good place to be.
Yeah.
We got No Stone Unturned, which is a solid support card both for yourself and helps dig for like exceptional cards that may be in your deck or help out your teammates. We have Logical Reasoning, which is a guts that does a different thing instead of drawing a card. You can heal 2 horror from a teammate or discard tarot card from the threat area, which is nice if you can eat a Frozen in Fear or something like that.
Yeah, because Jenny's not immune to Frozen in Fear. She still sits at that awful hope number that exists there. Yeah. Okay. Forgotten Age.
That's where the green cards start to get good.
Yes, yeah. So you handle this one. It's a staple. Basically, just give your encounter card to someone else, then gain some money. Fun.
Yeah.
I love this card. I love the flavor of it. It's like perfect rogue. Backpack, it's in our staple videos. Just helps you find item or supply cards. There's an upgraded one that's somehow even. It's incredible. Then we got the...
silly, really.
We got Lucky Cigarette Case. After you succeed a skill test by 2 or more, you get a draw card. If you haven't noticed by now, it's the theme of green to do that. Mm-hmm. Slip away, you get to evade, and you get to add your book to this test. And if you succeed by 2 or more, gasp. But the evaded enemy is not elite. It does not ready during the upkeep phase, so it kind of freezes them. We have Coup de Grace. You get a deal. It's a 2-cost event. Normally, this card's not too hot. But because it's just Jenny's ability to have the cost for it ready, you just get a deal of damage to your enemy, and it defeats the enemy and draws a card. It does not provoke attack of opportunities, and it does end your turn. It's just a tool you can have, especially at a level 0 deck, to help you through those. It's kind of like those tough moments that may show up in the first scenario. Treasure Hunter is like hired muscle, but some would argue better because book is better than fist.
Some would argue that.
We got High Roller. You get to spend 3 resources and exhaust it. You get +2 skill value for the skill test. If you succeed, gain 3 resources.
Yeah, this is a great card for Jane.
Definitely. Because it's like...
You get to turn your money into skill value, but you don't have to actually give up your money.
Yes, yeah. Unless you fail, just don't fail, right? Because you're going to be doing the skills that you're going to be boosting.
+2 to a test. How could you fail?
She's untouchable. But then we have Lola. This is where it gets really great in combination with Lola, because then you just investigate, you put some money in, you get a clue. Woo, get the money. You use the money with Lola to discover a clue your location. The green Rube Goldberg machine is finally in full power here.
Man, does the guy not look like a fish man to you?
He is, yeah. He's a little Innsmouthian. That's why the guys behind him are ready to beat him up, because they're like, get that fish man out of here!
Continuing with the Forgotten Age, we have our Ornate Bow. This is a weapon and lets you fight with your foot instead of your fist, which is a choice you can make. For Jenny, yes. Yep. Next up, you have the Skeleton Key. It's exceptional and fast. As an action, you can attach to your location or pick it up if it's already attached, and it sets the attached location shroud value to 1. This makes it so you can investigate pretty consistently. It's a nice place to be. 3 to 1 is pretty comfortable. Yeah. Especially with whatever passive book boosts you have.
Yep. We
have our Time Worn Brand here. This is another neutral weapon, and this one lets you fight with your fist instead of with your foot. It's just a solid weapon. There's nothing super exciting about it. You just bonk people. Yeah. We have our All-In. Commits to wild, max 1 committed per test, and if it's successful, you draw a card for each point you succeeded by to a maximum of 5. Then you shuffle each weakness drawn by this effect back into your deck without resolving it. It's a nice card draw option, even if it's a little expensive on the experience front. Yeah. And then looking at our off-color cards, we have Venturer, who brings 2/2 soak and 3 supplies that you can put as supplies or ammo on an asset controlled by Investigator your location. You can keep your goon's gun full. You can refill your lock picks. You can refill your gun. All kinds of things you can do with this guy. We have our Tooth of Esley. This gives you +1 brain, +1 foot resolving ability on a treachery card. And this is actually puts up to a very comfortable 4/4 for those stats. Yep. And if you succeed on a test while resolving an ability on a treachery card, you can exhaust the tooth to draw a card. It's a pretty solid accessory for her.
Yeah, definitely.
Perseverance, which is a guts that you can play when you assign damage that would defeat you, and you just cancel some of that damage. This is a nice card to play when you don't know what else to play. It's like the +2 brain is pretty much always relevant. Yep. And then sometimes you just don't die.
Yeah, just don't die. Yeah.
Then we have Take the Initiative, which is +3 during the Mythos phase, and that's mostly what it's here for.
Yeah. It is also +3 if you take the first action, which is not nothing, but +3 during the Mythos phase is the real juice of that card.
Yeah.
Okay, we are into the Circle Undone, which actually is really nice for Jenny because it's
all money.
Yeah,
cards.
money matters because this is where Preston came out, and Jenny is like just. Don't make me say it, Chad. Bad Preston. But Jenny can get a little bit better with some of the help cards we have here. So we have Well Connected. You can do Exhaust It and get +1 skill value for the skill test for every 5 resources you have.
I think there's an argument to be made that like Jenny is better at the hoarding.
Yeah, they're very different. Yeah,
than the actually spending resources, but
yeah,
it's just bad person.
Yeah, we have to at least say it. Like, no, Jenny can do this. Jenny is better at flexing with her 3 stats than Preston is better at flexing with his 1 stats in the nature of committing cards to tests. That's where Jenny can win.
really reach it. Don't pull your shoulder out there.
Money Talks allows you to use your money for a skill test. Half of your money. So when Travis was talking about how like the hoarding, and spending, these are like the different things you can do with your money. So like there's the Dragon, which is you just want to get the most resources that you can ever get.
Yeah, most of the cards for that one are like from the Circle Undone, and
Yes.
Edge of the Earth gave them a really big boost too.
Yes. So like with Well Connected, that's where you want to have a lot of stuff. The spending one is what we've been seeing previously with cards like the Hard Knocks and the Streetwise. Yeah, Streetwise especially, you'll see that there. Cunning, if you have 5 or more resources, this becomes a Perception or a Manual Decks. If you have 10 or more resources, it becomes 3 Book or 3 Foot instead.
This entire cycle looks so silly next to Promise of Power.
I know, eh? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the threshold skills. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Not that they're bad cards, but like, man.
Yeah. Intel Report is really nice and Jenny. You can for $2 you can discover clue location. You can also then increase its cost by 2 to discover 2 clues, and increase its cost by 2 to change from your location to up to 2 locations away. This is most commonly just for money, discover 2 clues, and it feels great every time.
It does.
Tennessee Sour Mash allows you to give yourself a little bit of a boost during 2 Mythos tests to become to 5, which is really good. And then you can also use it to fight at 6, which is like actually like Jenny uses Tennessee Sour Mash very well.
She does, actually, yeah.
Swift Reflexes. This is Skids O'Toole's ability where you can spend 2 resources to take an action as if it was your turn. Investments. This is... If Bryn was here, he would say, if you ever get the... whatever the weakness, paranoia, that takes all your resources and you want to be like a big money Jenny or even just a spending money Jenny...
It's a great card for that.
Get investments. Like, get an adaptable, get investments, because it allows you to counteract the threat that weakness provides your deck. Decoy, it's like Intel Report, but for evading. You can increase its cost to evade 2 non-elite enemies, and then also change it to its locations as well.
Small favor. This is the damage version of those other favors, where it deals damage or 2 damage, and then you can do it up to 2 locations away. Wow. They just took the same card and printed 3 different things on it. Incredible. We have our green tarot card here, the Moon, which gives you +1 foot. That's a stat that lots of green characters want to use, and you could too.
Yep.
We have our upgrade Sour Mash, which is like real good for Jenny. It's fast, got 2 supplies instead of 3. I think, no, it doesn't.
No, the other one had 2. Yeah,
okay, nice.
Had 2.
Yeah, it's the
Survivor has 2, yeah.
Anyway, you get +3 brain, which puts you up to 6, so that's a great place to be.
Great number. That's the
and
right
you can fight and get extra damage.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a weapon, almost.
Yeah, slotless weapon that basically just 2 guts +1, and then guts 2, and then you get to just kill someone with a bottle. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Another Day, Another Dollar. This is a permanent. You start each game with 2 extra resources.
It's like there's an upkeep phase at the beginning of the game.
Wow. It's a nice addition to like your hoarding Jenny decks, or I mean like really any Jenny deck. Just 2 more money is 2 more money, you know?
Yep.
We got Hawkeye Folding Camera, which after the last clue is discovered from your location, you put a resource on the camera as evidence, and while it has 1 or more evidence, you get +1 brain. 2 or more, you get +1 book, and 3 or more, you get +1 sanity. This one could be like a little bit awkward to get going to get that +1 book, because you have to clear off 2 locations. But both those stats can be relevant for Jenny, so this is a solid hand option for her.
Yeah, and I think as well, the Hawkeye folding camera, if you're going to play it in Jenny, you're not really looking at it as like, I need that brain boost. You're looking at like, I'm playing this because I need that book boost. You're looking at it as like, I want to get a book boost, but I also would love to boost my brain in the process. Yeah,
and you can get there actually with some other cards, like the testless ones.
Yes.
Like Intel Report's really good for that. So you don't have to actually like care about your mediocre book until you
we didn't, it wasn't in the slides, but as we go back, like there's a million cards that can work. If you're playing Hawkeye folding camera, consider working a Hunch and Jenny. That card, it's like just your upkeep phase.
Drawn to the flame.
Drawn to the flame. Yeah.
You have track shoes here, which is really nice for like as a one of for your 5 off color cards, just as a nice level 0 way to get +1 foot.
Yes. Yeah. All right, we are into Dream Eaters. Man, so that number is so tiny. That's a 35. Holy cow.
Why is there an R on the Guardian of the Crystallizer?
Where is it?
It's like on the jellyfish.
Yeah, no, because it's the Fantasy Flight, like...
yeah.
But it's
okay.
like up here, because it's that's where they put it for those ones. It's the watermark. Huh. Yeah. But it's because he's so dark, it's just like... It's like, hey, I'm Randy. With Crystallizer of Dreams, this is, if you're going to be playing event heavy, this turns your events into skill cards, which is really nice because to make up for the fact that your stats suck, you want to try to get the most that you can out of.
Like how we progress from she has flexible stats to like, man, your stats suck.
We start professional and we love everybody, every investigator. They're all the expanded guides are their safe home. And then by the time we get to Dream Eaters, it's like, you suck, Jenny!
Why are you so bad at doing skill tests?
Yeah. So we'll take that again. So because your stats are so flexible, you want your events to be able to take advantage of that and then turn your events into skill cards. So most commonly, green cards can have book and foot on their skill icons, and this allows you to turn those into more book or more foot.
Yeah, but because your stats are so flexible, you can use any skill icons.
It's true. Yes, exactly. Yeah, even if there's like a brain that's just hanging out on one of your cards, that's great. If there's a fist, like Small Favor has 2 fists, because you are so flexible, you can do whatever you want. They do come with the Crystallizer, which is kind of like Serendipity and Jenny, because they also have all 3s for their stats.
Yeah, no, that's just they're like friends.
They're friends. If you're playing this, you probably have a plan for them. Whether you should have a plan for them, whether it be evading them and then just being like, someone else solve this, or
it's a plan,
or killing them, or you might be the clue getting Jenny.
You don't have to evade them; they come to play exhausted.
But they'll stand up eventually and chase you down,
I guess.
Yeah, but hopefully you have a guardian who can just kill them.
Yeah, just don't draw cards during your turn, only during the upkeep. And then when you draw this, they'll be exhausted, and you have a whole turn. You can just like spend all 3 actions moving. And he'll never catch you.
Come back. We have Gregory Gry. You can spend up to 3 resources. From him, he has 9. If it exceeds by at least the amount that you spend, you gain that many resources. If you're going to be succeeding by a bunch and you want to make money, Gregory is the way to do it. He has no other effect. He just gives you more money. And
it's not true. He takes damage in horror.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not gonna like go to an ally and be like, this ally in particular is cool because he soaks, unless it's someone like Tetsuo or Brother Xavier.
That's fair.
Yeah. We have Easy Mark, fantastic card. You get 3 for the price of 1. So like you can get rid of your coup de grace that you put in earlier, and you just get to gain 2 resources and draw a card. If you can play another Easy Mark from your hand after you play it.
This cards are especially good when you get to Scenario 2 and you realize you put some really bad cards in your deck.
Yeah, and you're like, I know what I'll do. Do. Star wipe.
Yeah, you have 2 experience because you did bad in the first scenario because your deck is bad. And spend 1 of it on your Easy Marks, 3 cards out, 1 on Adaptable, 2 more cards out. Easy.
Perfect, yeah. Just change your deck up completely.
Yeah.
We got Momentum, which I think is notably actually a really nice skill with Jenny because her stats are so flexible that you can, when you succeed, you get to reduce the next skill test you perform by X, where X the amount you succeeded by, to a maximum of 3. So, like, for example, if let's say you're playing Fire Axe and you succeed by 3 and you have Momentum committed, you then have no resources left in your pool and you can just automatically succeed the test and then deal 2 damage, right? And it goes beyond even Fire Axe. That's just an example of one from what we talked about in the video. Upgraded Burglary. If you succeed, you gain 2 resources. So no matter what, you get resources instead of you don't need to like succeed by a certain amount. However, you also gain the amount you succeed by to a maximum of +3 resources. So this can get you 5 resources.
I played this card once.
You did, but just recently.
Yeah,
with Bob.
it was pretty meh.
Yeah.
It's fine, but
like if you're planning on like just getting more money, like if you have like a well connected and you're like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get more money this turn. And everyone's like, but why? And you're like, because that's my archetype, nerd.
So I can use it with my well connected next turn to get more money.
Yeah. And like you're like, I'm waiting for a problem to show up, and they point to the agenda, and you're like, that's not a problem. You'll get through, okay.
Yes, they're doing great.
We have haste, which is after you perform the same type of action twice in a row, you get to exhaust haste and take another action of that type again. This includes the activate, engage, evade, fight, investigate, move, play, resource, and draw. The real notable thing here is the activate action. So anytime you see that arrow. So, for example, you see burglary right here. It has that arrow. So this counts as both an activate action and an investigate action. So you can do a lot of cool things with haste with that. And then we have Daredevil, the upgraded. This is the upgraded one, but we haven't seen the downgraded one yet.
Right.
After you commit Daredevil to a skill test, you reveal the cards on the top of your deck until you reveal a rogue skill you can commit to this test. Commit it to it and shuffle each other revealed card back into your deck. If you have skills, this is a fun card. It's also really good, too, if you're playing Savant, as we get to later. Savant's just, like, a really good card in Jenny.
Yeah, it's +3. It's like...
It's +4. It's a Promise of Power. You just have multiple Promise of Powers.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 Promise of Power.
All right,
It did make it in.
Yeah, why don't you practice Makes Perfect?
Yeah. I was like looking at those. I was like, those are practice. I wonder if I put practice Makes Perfect.
Of course it did.
We got Garrote Wire.
I mean, she can run deductions, right? So like, it's
she can play deduction. She can play vicious blow. She can play stunning blow. Play whatever you want, man.
Yeah, because she
can play justify the means.
She can play practice makes perfect from every class. So like practice cards from every class. Of course it's here. It's gonna be in every deduction investigator apart from like maybe Jim. But it's probably in Jim because he can play Promise of Power.
I don't remember what I put in the Jim deck. It might just be like several pages of Jim.
It'd be so funny. I just open up the thing you made Arkham DB and it just says do it yourself.
I don't want to think about Jim. We got Garrote Wire. This is during your turn you can exhaust it to fight. You get +2 punch for the attack and use it only on an enemy with exactly 1 remaining health. It's a nice way to just pick off those 3 health enemies. I mean, Delilah O'Rourke. She is the fighting version of Lola Santiago. Gives you fist and foot, and you can exhaust her to shoot people. Yeah. Until she's got a gun in the art. Then our off-color cards, we have Read the Signs, which is just a really solid clue-getting spell. You could also play, like, the other ones from the cycle, too, if you really wanted.
The Spectral Razor.
Yeah, Spectral Razor in particular, but, like, there's a lot of rogue cards that kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
Arguably better, so... New Practice Makes Perfect, what we were fangirling over a minute ago. So, yeah, you get to search top 9 cards of your deck for practice skill and commit to a skill test if able, and then if the skill test is successful, you return the card to your hand. Jenny gets to play lots of practice skills and get lots of value from this, so it's good. It's good.
Do you want to know my new Crazy Man Conspiracy? Every time I play Practice Makes Perfect on Tabletop Simulator, and I put Practice Makes Perfect and then Deduction in my threat area, I draw the auto-fail. But since I started moving Deduction a few inches off of my player map, it hasn't happened.
Really?
So I'm like that crazy person. I know it's not true. It's just like, but I only remember those, but I'm convinced. I'm like, it's a scam. They're coding against it.
That would be pretty funny if they actually were.
Yeah, that would be good. We are in Innsmouth now. So for a detailed breakdown of the curse cards in particular, because Rogue is what she's going to be doing, you're going to want to check the description for the curse archetype guide. One that isn't here, because there's not really much to say about it other than like showing it on the screen, is Geas, or Goose as we call it, because it puts +1 to all of her stats.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
same thing with Faustian Bargain. It's technically a curse card, but...
Yeah. It's a staple. Yeah, it's in the Rogue staples. If you watch that, you've seen us talk about Faustian Bargain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should also reasonably be here. We have the 25 automatic, the upgraded one. It's fast. You get +2 fist and deal +1 damage if the enemy's exhausted. And after you evade an enemy or location, you perform the above fight ability without spending an action. The perfect rogue weapon.
Yeah, I actually love this card.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not many green cards I'd say I love, but this is one of them.
So yeah, it's just a good option if you're going to be kind of like wanting to kill things and evade things.
Yeah.
Breaking and entering, love this card. So you get to investigate. You get to add your foot to your skill value for this investigation. If you succeed by 2, you may automatically evade an enemy at this location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So you're the flex. You evade the enemy, then you just shoot him in the fucking face with a 25 automatic.
Yeah.
That seems sick.
he's got his crowbar. He's just prying open a safe. It's a really shitty safe.
It is. Not at all.
He's not even like, he doesn't even look strong. He's just like some guy.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, there we go. It's made of aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Just opens right up. We have Under Surveillance. It's a 3-cost event. You can attach your location, limit once per location. After not only an enemy enters attached location, you can discard Under Surveillance, and you automatically evade that enemy and discover 1 clue at the attached location. That enemy is not ready during the next upkeep phase. I've never really seen this card played, but like, it's honestly like,
it reads pretty okay.
It reads pretty okay, but I think that there's just like only certain scenarios where it matters. And it's usually near the tail end of a scenario when you're locking yourself down. I can see this card being like good if you're playing like 2 players and you're like, we're just gonna like, I'm gonna just hunker down here for a bit, because the card reads good. And also what helps as well with Jenny is that it costs 3, which is not really as much of a problem as it is for other people, because it is also pretty expensive.
You put this down and you just like hang on that location, and then there's like a hunter enemy comes around the corner, you're just waiting with your 25 automatic. You're like, bang!
Yeah. Actually, with hunter enemies, that's also where the value can really go up for it too. Yeah. Hard Knocks, the upgraded version, it just now has 2 resources that you can spend as well each round. So it's basically just an additional overpower or manual decks each round.
Actually huge for Jane.
Yes, yeah. Promise of Power. We've been talking about it. 4 icons. Put a curse token in the bag. 1 curse token.
I mean, it makes your stats like 1 if you draw it.
It is, yeah. But like,
that's bad.
Someone else who is doing more tests is going to draw it.
You don't know that.
I'm pretty confident that's what's going to happen.
You don't know that.
I even love it, because even if you get the -2 from the own Promise of Power on that test, you just pass the test still.
I know, right?
It's wild.
But if you can't put curse tokens in, you take... That was actually almost relevant one time.
I've seen it actually happen. Someone was playing Amanda, and they took like a bunch of... I think they took 4 horror. They still won. Right? We still won.
Did they think you had to commit?
No, they wanted it. They wanted it, yeah.
It's like, you don't have to. You can just choose not to.
Because Amanda just needs to have just like that ability to just go even stronger. Just like tune her a little bit more.
Yeah. You don't have to commit your card.
Yeah. We have Mariner's Compass, which you can investigate.
It's Fire Axe, but book.
Yeah.
Great card.
All right. Edge of the Earth, Travis.
Hey, we got 21 or bust, and you like gambling because you can get money from it.
Yeah, it's nice too because that's her upkeep. The cost.
Is this a good card?
Yes, I think it is. I think it hits. You can get to. Actually, no, because then it's just an emergency cash.
You have to get 20 for it to be better than emergency cash.
Yes, yeah. So it's a fun card. The card's incredible.
It is very fun. Yes. Yeah. We have Hit Me, which is also gambling. It's like a green lucky kind of. Yeah, it's a nice. That's also a fun card, but I think this one's actually like pretty okay.
Yeah.
We have Counter Espionage, which is another one of those favors. Except this one eats encounter cards.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. It's a great addition to keep you safe instead of boosting your stats.
And I love it because if you spend all 6, you can cancel someone else's card, but then you still get the card. You're like, oh, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Then we have Savant, which, as Justin mentioned earlier, is an incredible card for Jane. It gains wild icons equal to your lowest skill other than one being tested, and it has 1 base. All your skills are 3, so when you commit this to a test, you just get 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. We have our red clocks here. These are accessories. Both of them are exceptional. One's level 2, one's level 5. Level 2 one is after your turn begins, you either place a charge there or take all the charges off it as resources. Then if it has exactly 1 charge, you get +3 skill value for your next skill test. At 2 charges, you can move up to 2 times, and at 3 charges, you can take an additional action this turn. Then the level 5 one is you may take all charges there as resources first, and then you get to place a charge there. And then if it has 1 charge, you get +4 value, If you have 2 charges, you move up to 3 times, which honestly is quite excessive.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you kind of do a loop because you're like, I'm going to use this.
I played this card a bunch in that Bob deck, and I was like, why would I ever need to move 3 times, man? And then 3 charges, you can take 2 additional actions this turn. It's just a really strong green card in general.
Yeah.
And Jenny, like most rogues, appreciates all those effects. We have an upgraded Mighty Talks here, which is play when an investigator at any location initiates a skill test. And then they get to do a resource skill test against your resources.
Yeah.
And draw a card.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nice for, like... It's actually pretty sick if you're, like, doing something else on the other side of the map and they're like, I need help doing this test. And you're like, boom, I have 20 resources.
Yeah,
like, you got 10 to whatever they got, bud.
Yeah, it's kind of like in a way... Like, it's like in Magic how there's the joke that every mechanic's just kicker. Mm-hmm. Like, this is sits in the card, like, the cool pool of cards, like, every card is just like, ward of protection like this. Because it is kind of like a ward of protection or a lucky. They're just going to pass the test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Black Market. It's a 1-cost event. You can only play at the start of the investigation phase 1 at a time. You reveal cards from the top of any investigator's decks until exactly 5 cards have been revealed. And then you set those cards aside out of play, and while set aside, any investigator can play any of those cards as if they're in their hand. And the start of the next investigation phase, you shuffle each of those cards back to their owner's decks. It's a nice rogue card draw card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, we got Moxie, the upgraded version, and now soaks for 3-1 that must be placed on Moxie before it's placed on your investigator card. But if you have other soak, it can go on them first. Nice. Brain, foot, spend resources, brain, foot. It also is 0 to put out. We have the Black Fan, which is really nice in Jenny if you're going to be doing the Hoarding Dragon. It's exceptional, so it costs 6, but if you have 10 resources, you get 1 health, 1 sanity. If you have 15, you get an additional action. If you have 20, you get +1 to each of your skills.
Yeah, this is like probably like the big payoff for that.
Yes. Yeah, for the big money?
Yeah.
For Hoarding? Yeah.
It's 100%.
Really good.
Very strong all fours and extra action is whew.
Yeah. Now just imagine if you were like playing like Trish. Oh my god.
You're playing a real investigator.
No, Jamie, we love you. Anyway, we got Janae Beauregard next. She gives you book and foot, soaks for 2 and 2. And after you move to a location, you can exhaust her to move a clue or a non-elite enemy from a connecting location to your location or vice versa. You can do a lot of really, like...
things that seem like you
unfair.
Shouldn't be. Yes, and they are.
They are, yeah. Janae is she's a fun card to play with, though.
You just walk in location, you're like, and you go here?
Yeah. Bye!
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just, like, my favorite thing to do is on a victory location where there's, like, a stipulation or something difficult that makes it to investigate, you just leave and go, thank you, we'll put this here on this one shroud location.
Man, it's like this card in, like, for example, Shattered Aeons with all the Acolytes, you just, like, walk into one of the central locations and you're like, come here.
Yeah.
And then you shoot them.
Yeah. Yep.
And, like...
Bye!
You don't have to take the damage of the horror because there's clues in that location.
Yep.
The problem's solved.
Yeah, you can even just suck, like, you know, and you just, like, move clues onto the thing. Yeah. And you're like, thanks. I'm not going to interact with the mechanic of this part of the scenario.
I don't want to do that.
We have Eon Chart 1 and 4. They each have 3 secrets, and during your turn, for the level 1/1, you can exhaust it and spend a secret to take 1 action, move, evade, or investigate. The upgraded one is, during your turn, you can exhaust, spend 1 secret, choose 2 of the following actions, and take them in any order. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Unscrupulous Loan. If you care about big money, this is the card for you. After it comes into play, you gain 10 resources, and then the game ends if you are or eliminated. If you have 2 or fewer than 10, you exile it.
Yeah, it turns Jane into a trust fund, baby.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone exile this unless they wanted to. It's that easy to be over that threshold.
Yeah, especially if you, like, just want to have the resources and not to, like, spend them on anything.
Yes, yeah.
Like
is it basically just, with Black Fan, you're like, I'll just take +1 health and 1 sanity to be halfway to where I want to be on one card. There is only 1 per investigator, but...
It's not unique, so you can play 2 of them.
Yeah. We got Bruiser, Crafty, and Antiquary over here. Mm-hmm. These all follow the same structure, so I'm just going to explain one of them, and then I'll go through the others. They cost 3, come with 2 resources, and those resources are replenished at each round. Resources on Bruiser may be spent for armor, firearm, and melee cards, and during a skill test in armor, firearm, or melee, you can spend a resource from Bruiser, you get +1 skill value for this test. If you're going to be fighting, Bruiser's for you.
Yep.
Crafty, it's Insight, Tool, or Trick, and then Insight, Tool, or Trick for, like, the spending on the things. If you're going to be doing those cards,
Like
get this
clues.
Like clues.
Mostly.
And then there's Antiquary, Favor, Relic, or Ritual, if you're going to be doing those ones. Favor, and also, realistically, Relics. There's some good green relics as well.
Yeah.
And then our splash card notable one here is Jury Rig, and I'm pretty sure Travis put this here because you have 3s in all of your stats because they're so flexible.
Yeah, probably.
And this allows you to take your any asset that you're going to like investigate or fight with and just give them 3 unexpected courages.
That sounds right. I did write this like actually almost a year ago. So.
Yeah. But that seems why this is here. That's very...
Yeah.
All right, return to Travis.
We got our level 2 Hard Knocks. This card is a nice in-between if you decide to build down the rabbit hole, Jenny. Yeah.
You could.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
No, like those not a stupid comment. It's just, that's probably why you'd be purchasing this card.
Yeah, 100%.
We have our Hot Streak level 2, which is cost 5 resources instead of 3, so you get 2 less resources from it. For upgraded Contraband, which lets you either place 2 ammo or supply tokens on an asset and draw a card, or double the number of ammo supply tokens on that asset.
Basically just makes it always active.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also commits for great symbols if you're doing like a crystallizer build.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. We have Stealth. So Lightning Bolt, you can exhaust Stealth to evade. The chosen enemy gets -2 to evade for this evasion attempt. And if you succeed, you disengage but don't exhaust it.
Yeah.
And then to the end of the turn, the enemy can't engage you. If you feel like being really selfish, this is a good way to get enemies off of you. Stronger at lower player counts than higher player counts, but it's still a solid option for like getting enemies away from you as Jenny.
Definitely.
We have our level 1 Suggestion, which is actually just lockpicks, but for evasion. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real card that we just have never played because there's not really a rogue for it, except for Jenny. Jenny's probably the one, but
Jenny or like Safina, I guess.
Safina,
but...
yeah.
I don't know.
Safina has better things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. We have our level 2 backpack here. This lets you search 12 cards instead of 6, which seems like a lot, and it is. It's like half your deck.
Yeah, you get to 9, and then you're like, but it always stops at 9. What's happening?
Yeah. I'm not playing Mandy. We have our level 3 Well Connected, which is very strong for Jenny. Still has limit 1 per investigator, and is a lightning bolt you can exhaust to get +1 skill value for the skill test for every 4 resources you have instead of every 5. And you can also spend 2 resources to ready it, limit once per round. So you can use it twice a round.
You can use it twice in a skill test if you
Yeah,
really
you can.
need to pass it. Didn't realize that till right now, but you
Give
could.
me +12, please. Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat, I guess. I didn't realize that, but also probably because that's never been relevant.
Yeah, 100%. Never really been... Because, yeah, if you're playing Well Connected, you're going to get, like, +8 from this most often anyway.
Yeah. We have Knight of Swords here. This is another tarot card, and when you would succeed a skill test, you get +1 skill value for the skill test. You may discard the Knight of Swords to get +3 instead. This is actually really nice for Jenny with her sort of medium stats if you're playing lots of cards that want you to succeed by 2.
Yep.
Because turns only succeed by 1, succeed by 2s.
Yep.
Just makes it a little bit easier to get there.
That's my turn. That's
Yeah.
my job. You're done. I was just daydreaming about Arkham. I was like, oh, that'd be fun. You know, you pass a test by 1, and you're like, I was like, it doesn't even exhaust. That's so fun. And then I was like, why isn't Travis talking anymore?
Why did the noise stop?
We have a level 0 lockpicks. You can find this in our clue video. It gets destroyed if you do not succeed by 2.
Yeah, you only brought 1.
Yeah, it's lockpick. They really should have just had a little zip over it. But it's very likely you're going to break these with Jenny, so you'll need another plan. It's not like your main clue tool. However, if you're doing something like down the rabbit hole, or even if you're just going to be like upgrading these anyway, and you're like, I don't want to think too hard, you could put them in.
Yep.
We have Lonnie Ritter and her best friend Leather Jacket. So Lonnie Ritter gives +1 fist, and you can exhaust her and spend a resource to choose an item asset controlled by an investigator location. Heal 1 damage from that asset and 1 horror from Lonnie Ritter. Because it needs to be an item, Leather Jacket is an item that can do that. It's fast, soaks for 2. Allows you to just like try not to die to horror. Luckily though, Jenny is pretty good.
She's pretty tanky.
Yeah, she doesn't need Lonnie as much as some others do.
Nope.
We have the level 0 Streetwise. You can spend 2 resources to get +2 book, +2 foot. I like it as a level 0 version of this. And if you're going to be doing the down the rabbit hole, it's It's a great choice.
Yep.
We have the upgraded slip away. If you succeed by 3 or more, you get a return slip away to your hand at the end of your turn.
Mm-hmm.
This has a stupid interaction with Crystallizer of Dreams, where it goes on Crystallizer, you can commit it to a test, and then it still goes back into your hand at the end of your turn. It's kind of wild, huh?
Do you have to commit it in the same test?
So basically, wherever it is, it goes back to your hand at your end of turn. So if you do not commit it, it leaves the Crystallizer and goes back to your hand.
Why?
Because the way the lasting effects work in this game.
That's
so
stupid.
Because it checks at the end of your turn, it doesn't care where it is. It just says, "Come back to me, Daddy, I'm here."
That is stupid.
Because it doesn't care if it comes from your discard pile or somewhere else. It just has to come back. It's just like, I'm here.
The more I learn about the rules of this game, the more I hate it. Like they make no sense.
I'm out of that. I was in that phase, and now I'm just like on the roller coaster going, "Woo!" part of this. I'm just here for the whatever interactions people want to say.
You mean people could just show up in your Twitch chat and tell you something works a certain way, you'd be like, yeah, sure,
Hell
man.
yeah, I'm down. Let's go. We got the Mausers, C96. These are in the Staples videos. It's a nice weapon for rogues.
Yeah.
We have manual decks, the upgraded version, 3 foot. If you succeed by 2 or more, draw 2 cards.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll finish this up because you're going to have to talk about a deck right away. You made ages ago.
Yeah. No, it's really fun when they come up and I get to analyze them while also trying to talk.
Yeah. We have Lucky Cigarette Case. It's a 2 level 3. If you succeed by at least 1 or more, you get to search the top cards of your that much of your deck. Very nice upgrade. We have Copycat. The card I wish I played more of, but like...
Why?
Because I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun, but the problem is I played the skill cards, so I'm like, what do you got in there, Travis? And you're like, deduction. And I'm like, I'm a goon.
Yeah, I got deduction, I got perception. You want that? And you're like, no.
I mean, if I want to pay 3 experience for my own copy of Promise of Power, maybe talk me off the cliff, okay? But basically, you get to search the discard pile of another investigator for a skill you can commit to this test and commit it after it ends. You place that card on the bottom of its owner's deck. Actually has a good synergy with Practice Makes Perfect. I can put those deductions back in there for you.
Oh my god.
When you search your deck, shuffle it, and then woo, let's go.
Every time.
We got Chuck Fergus, a 5 experience, 3 cost man with a shillelagh or whatever Bryn calls it. Shillelagh?
Shillelagh.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But when you play a tactic or trick event, you can exhaust it. It gains fast, costs 2 less, or you get +2 skill value. Jenny loves the first one and the last one. Just like being able to get +2 and it being fast, but also just saving 2 money. That's an upkeep phase right there.
Yep.
Very strong card, but you kind of like need them in play.
Yeah, your deck. If you're building a Chuck Fergus deck, your deck doesn't do anything until you have it usually.
Luckily, Jenny can kind of counteract that a bit because she doesn't care so much about the resource reduction.
Yeah.
But she cares a little bit more about the stats, but not enough that I think that she's probably one of the better uses of Chuck Fergus because of that.
That's fair.
And then our off-color card, we got Safeguard. Don't spend your time moving when you can have someone else move for you instead.
Yeah.
All right. Travis. Wow, that only took us an hour. I thought that was going to take us like an hour 20. We did so great.
Yeah, we cruised.
We did.
This is a clue getting deck. This one's easy, thank God. So we chose Fingerprint Kit and Dr. Milan Christopher for our off-color cards, and no other off-color card because I didn't feel like it. I guess. At the time.
What was past Travis thinking?
You know, man. I don't know what to tell you. We have Dr. Milan Christopher here as a book boost. Fingerprint Kit is here like in place of the deductions because it's like multiple deductions.
Yep.
And Jenny doesn't care so much about the resource cost of it.
Yes.
We have our flashlights and our lockpicks just as solid other ways to help us get the clues. Our alternative ally we have is Leo DeLuca. Sometimes you're going to need... sometimes Dr. Milan's going to die is what it comes down to. You're not going to draw him. You don't have a ton of card draw in this deck. We have the Lucky Cigarette Cases. But that's really it.
Yeah.
So, and those aren't going to fire off super consistently. We have our Lone Wolves for extra money and Streetwise to actually make our book like good. Then Breaking and Entering, Intel Report are both good ways to get clues event-wise.
Yep.
Pretty much guaranteed clues, to be honest. Breaking and Entering also functions for energy management. Or enemy management, not energy. And then we have our emergency caches, just because money's good.
You always could use a bit more.
Yeah, you're actually always going to want more money with this deck
because you have Streetwise.
Yeah, we got 2 slipaways just as another option for dealing with enemies. 2 copies of Watch This, 2 copies of Quicking Thinking,
Oh, my favorite card, Quickie Thinking.
And 2 copies of Unexpected Courage, yeah. Watch this is just more money, and then the Quicking Thinkings and the Unexpected Courages are just whatever books symbols you need, I guess.
If you did want to put a 5th card, I would like, even though like Fingerprint it's deductions, I could switch one of the watch this is to a deduction.
Yeah, or shave like a lone wolf or something like that.
Yeah, it's an easy switch depending on what you want. But there's nothing more of a flex than playing a Dunwich Investigator and only using 4 of your splash cards. We're going to start a new meta here. That's Jenny. I hope this video has helped, and I hope you've enjoyed us both loving and hating Jenny at the exact same time.
Yeah, it was fun.
But we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about Akachi, who's fun. I like Akachi. And then, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.